Yeah, that's weird.
Anyway, all right, let's go. Go Gogs. Oh wait, I'm Gogs. Hi everybody. It's Movie the Podcast. It's Sean, Alec, and Topo coming at you.
It's a real buddies show. We haven't had a real buddies show in years.
That's true. God, I forgot.
Yeah, it's been a
that.
long time since Gogs wasn't on one.
Yeah, it's so weird. It was such a staple of the show for so long that Gogs wasn't on the show.
At one point, I legit just thought he was gonna one day just be like, "I'm just not doing it anymore."
That is true. Yeah.
Because like he literally didn't do it for like months. He'd do like once a month for like I don't know. It was like 6-8 months he did that.
Yeah.
And I was like, at some point he's gonna be like, "I just don't have the time. I'm gonna quit." But he came back with a vengeance.
Yeah, once he remembered what day his house was getting sold, he was good.
Gox could never quit the show. You know how he is about like letting us down. He would it would destroy him if he thought that like we were upset with him for anything. Oh my god.
Yeah.
He could never do it. Unless he's actually matured and grown as a person, which I doubt.
Oh god, I hope not.
Yeah. we're all screwed.
That sucks. I mean, we've all grown.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, you've gotten muscular. Alec and I have just grown wider. So it happens. All right. Anyway, we watched.
We make a good Nintendo hockey team. You know, you had to mix it up with
We would make a good Nintendo hockey team. You know what? A hockey game I saw like on some YouTube show.
Blood Sports Hockey or whatever.
No, but that was also great.
Oh.
Wayne Gretzky's hockey on Nintendo 64. Did you ever play that shit? It was.
I don't think I ever played a sports game on 64 that wasn't a 1080
or NFL Blitz. I played a lot of
Blitz,
NFL Blitz on Nintendo 64. No, the hockey game was pretty sick on Nintendo 64, and I think it was a launch title. Like I remember it coming out like pretty early on, but it was one of those games that didn't have the NHL license.
Oh.
So it was like the Washington,
buildings.
Yeah, the Washington in the middle of
the Washington Flapitals.
Yeah. It's still capitals. It's just spelled the other way.
It's like the letters
with a K.
Yeah. But anyway, we watched Jackie Chan. It's funny. I've seen this movie 1,000 times. It never dawned on me that Jackie Chan directed this movie. It's Jackie Chan's Police Story from 1985. One of the OG Hong Kong bangers. This kind of, this is, I guess technically this is in the middle of Jackie Chan's career, but this is like a very this is a high water mark in his career.
Yeah, because if you would have asked me before the show, I would have said this was a Shaw Brothers movie. Like,
yeah, this was all him. Again, like this is a movie that recently got released under the Criterion Collection, so you know that it's pretty well regarded in that respect. But I think I'm interested to hear everybody's thoughts on a movie that it was a genuine treat for me to watch, because this is a movie I haven't watched since I was like a kid and on a very shitty VHS bootleg copy of. So anyway, we'll get into that. What did you all watch this week? Alec!
I think I only watched one movie. I watched finished a couple of shows.
Nice.
Tell us about the shows.
Yes.
I watched...
Hold
on. My phone is acting up now.
Damn phone.
So the movie I watched is Malibu's Most Wanted.
Huh.
That movie is something else. It's actually pretty funny.
Is that with Jamie Kennedy?
Yeah. It's actually pretty funny if you could just turn your brain off and watch it without like having any sort of standards or like expectations. It's got some funny bits to it.
He's like a rapper, if I remember correctly. Like,
He's from Malibu, and he is a rapper with a crew. His crew is Nick Swartzen.
Oh no!
Oh God, why am I forgetting his name? Kumar from Harold and Kumar. What's his real name?
Oh,
Cal Penn.
Cal Penn.
Cal Penn and some girl that really hasn't been in too much that I saw afterwards. And they're like a rap crew in Malibu, and his dad is running for governor, and he tries to help his dad by going to like a campaign stop, and he ends up ruining it. So Blair Underwood is the campaign manager, and he hires Anthony Anderson and Taye Diggs to kidnap Jamie Kennedy and actually take him to the ghetto to scare him white, is what they say over and over and over
Oh my
again.
god! Yikes!
Yeah,
It
it's
sounds
ridiculous.
like loosely like the plot of Tommy Boy.
Actually, yeah,
Big
kind
Black
of.
Sheep. I
Oh,
guess
Black
Tommy
Sheep. Yeah,
Boy.
yeah, yeah. No,
But
you're right.
It is very. It's a blend between like Black Sheep and 8 Mile, because he's got all these like he's a white guy and he's got all these rap battles and stuff, but he's terrible at it instead of being amazing at it, like B Rabbit.
Yeah. You know what's
fine.
funny is that like
it's exactly what you would expect, and it's got some laughs through it, and there are some parts where you're like, Jesus Christ.
in that era, like just being an Indian guy that rapped was like a whole joke because
That was
joke
like
was
an
in
entire. It was like a trope for a little while.
remember
yeah.
Mean Girls? Like
Yeah.
the fact that guy rapped was a joke. Like
Oh yeah.
Jamie Kennedy is one of those guys where it's like he's like what's that other dude, Dax Shepard, where you're like, how did he get a career? Like that
did
guy
he get
was
Me Too'd or something because he just like disappeared.
Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I remember it's so this is something that literally one other person will find funny, but that one person listens to the show. It's Anthony. Anthony and I were in a hotel room at the Pittsburgh Comic Con, and it was some like late night like syndicated comedy show, and Jamie Kennedy was like the like headliner of the thing, and he's like he had this like the impression segment where he's like, I'm going to do Edward James Olmos, and he's like it literally like I'm not. It was just like he just went and he squinted his eyes and he went, bucket of chicken, bucket of corn, and like they piped in laughs. It was like the weirdest like. I don't even. It was like a Tim and Eric bit, but like he was genuinely trying to make people laugh. It was very odd. But yeah, Jamie Kennedy, strange dude. Probably married to somebody hot. If I had to guess.
He was in the most recent Tremors movie.
Oh boy,
It came out a couple of years ago.
that no one saw. and we are with the.
I bet you Gog saw.
I was about to say, Gog's like the biggest Tremors fan. At what shows did you finish out?
I finally finished that. The Stand.
Oh no! I didn't even know you were continuing watching it. I thought you gave up.
Well, so the Plex did.
I only
Plex,
put like 2 episodes on there.
Well, the Plex was weird because like the Plex had the new one. But all the descriptions and actors and screenshots were from the original one from 94.
Yeah. I
and it only went to like 4 episodes on there, so I didn't know if you only downloaded 4
I only
or if
put
it
on
just
a
did
couple.
4 because 4 was the original series and it thought that was it.
No, I only did a couple episodes. You should have told me. I would have put the rest on there.
No, I mean, I didn't care enough. But we got Amazon had a deal a few weeks ago. Like they run it a few times a year where you can get like 99 cents a month for some of their channels.
Oh, that's cool.
So we did the Paramount channel for 2 months and the Showtime for 2 months for 99 cents a month each. And the Stand is on the Paramount channel, so I finished it. And man, like,
is it a good man or a bad man?
It's not good.
Did you like the original miniseries?
I mean, I haven't watched it since it came out, but when it came out, I thought it was like incredible.
I loved it when I was
like. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I thought it was on TV. It was super dark.
I was gonna say, it felt like one of those things when we were kids that we weren't supposed to watch. Like it shouldn't be on regular TV.
Yeah, but it was on like NBC on like Monday nights or something like that for a month straight as their miniseries.
Well, they had like a deal with Stephen King because you guys remember this, I'm sure.
Oh God,
but like
the Langoliers with Falky.
Every year they did a new Stephen King thing. Yeah, they did the Langoliers, they did the Tommy Knockers, they did
a Pet Cemetery one.
Dude, the Tommy Knockers book scared the fuck out of me when I was a kid. My dad had all the Stephen King, the big, 80-pound hardcover versions of them. Like, that fucked me up.
Yeah, and of course they did It. Obviously, that's probably the most like well known out of all of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like a treat. I remember, like, I don't know. It's so funny to think about that kind of shit now. But like, there was like special events on TV. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, oh, this is different than all the other normal stuff.
Yeah, now it's just a bunch of show called Police.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Chicago Police, New York Police, New York FBI, CSI.
Every time I watch football, the ads for the shows is just like, oh my, like who is?
It's always like, who's watching this? And then it's like 13 million people are watching it.
The most watched show in the fucking country. Anyway, sorry.
But I loved that original one. I think, like Sean just said, it's like it felt like something that we probably shouldn't have watched.
Oh yeah.
But then I remember like the following summer, like getting the book, and oh man,
yeah,
like 13-year-old Alex shouldn't have been reading that book.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
That book is fucked up.
Yeah, I have my grandmother got it for me. I have like the extended version book.
Oh
it's
man.
like, oh my god.
What, did you guys live in it?
Yeah, I still have it. I still have it to this day. It's fucking enormous. It took me like a year to read because as bad as my attention span is now, when I was like, 13, it was way worse. So it took me ever to read.
Yeah, that extended version of the book adds like 400 pages or something.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
It's crazy long. It's just like never ending. I mean, did
you ever read it? Did it have more scenes of the guys jerking each other off?
There's a lot in there already. Stephen King has a lot of weird sexual shit in all of his books.
There's one Stephen King property like I actually really like that they've never adapted. It's called The Talisman. He wrote it with a guy named Richard Straub.
Yeah, I never read
You know what I'm talking about with like that carnival
exactly
that
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I've heard of it. I always liked. I don't know if
that was a Bachman book for some reason. I don't know why.
I don't know if I liked them, but the shit. One of them's The Regulators, and I forget what the other one is. But they're like twin books he wrote. One is Stephen King and one is Richard Bachman. And it's all the same characters in both books, but like some of them are different.
Does one of them
ages.
have like a big ant on the front of it?
I think so, yeah. Is it Desperation or Desolation? One of those is the other one. It's The Regulators and Desperation, maybe.
I think I know what you're talking about.
But they were cool. Those were neat. He's got a problem with ending his books.
He always does,
for the most part.
The Stand is kind of a weak ending, I think.
Yeah, and this new Stand follows suit. Like it's got the level of actors you'd expect. Like James Marsden is Stu Redman, which is exactly like the level of actor you would expect to be Stu Redman in a remake of The Stand right now. Most of the people in the movie are like people you've never seen before. Like I don't know if I feel bad for him, but like Alexander Skarsgård,
he's Randall Flagg, right?
Yeah, and I've always felt he's such a good fucking actor, but he keeps just being cast in garbage.
He's in like the worst shit.
And I'm like, maybe he's just not a good actor. Maybe he was just really good in.
He was good in True Blood.
He was, but that's like everything else he's been in has sucked.
He's going to be in that new Robert Eggers movie that looks pretty badass, The Northman.
Oh, The Northman?
He's the lead in that. It looks
I'm going to just put it out here. Randall Flagg's one of my favorite like literary character names ever. Like it's a super solid name, but I think it's also because it makes me think of Reuben Flagg, the protagonist from Howard Chaykin's American Flag. Yeah.
It's a cool. I also like the fact that like the virus is called Captain Trips, or there's a lot of weird ass naming conventions.
Yeah, Captain Trips.
Also, Randall Flagg is a great villain in The Stand, but he's even cooler if you read the Dark Tower books because he shows up in there too, which is kind of awesome. I always love that shit, like his like extended lore.
Yeah, because isn't he dressed like fucking Bob from Twin Peaks? Isn't he supposed to always be like in a jean jacket and shit?
Yeah,
and the Stand he's always like, he's got a Canadian tuxedo with little buttons all over it from the places he's been.
One of the best Dark Tower books is when they go to the America from The Stand. It's fucking cool shit. I forget which book that is. I think Drawing a 3, maybe. I don't know. Those Dark Tower books are fantastic. I highly recommend them.
The only good part about this was in the very, I think it was the first or second episode. Because Stu Redman gets like quarantined because he's in Texas, where the car guy. I was thinking about this earlier. Like, there's a lot of like race switching and some gender or race and gender swapping in this, which is fine. Like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, who cares?
But the one
you didn't write a letter.
Yeah, but like the soldier that gets his family and actually releases the virus, they switch to black. I'm like, you couldn't have that as the white guy.
Yeah,
the guy who
Well, at least
ended
they
the world.
at least
You
they
had to
didn't make him
switch it.
Chinese.
That would have been bad. Oh my god, that would have been so bad.
The best scene in the whole show. I mean, there's some good scenes throughout. Like, there's some good stuff in there, but overall, it sucks.
Yeah.
It was directed by Josh Boone from
Why do I know that?
the New Mutants.
Oh yeah.
A movie that we all liked.
Yeah, one of the best scenes in the whole show is it's probably episode 1 or 2. Stu Redman's like in quarantine, and he kills the guy to get out because they're just going to lock him in there to die. And he makes his way to like the general, and the general is J.K. Simmons, of course, like light years ahead of any acting that should be in this show.
You said the general, and I just thought of that shitty CGI character from those ads.
Shaquille O'Neal insurance.
I'm sorry. I just like he's like a protagonist in the show, and he's like, "Let's get him. Let's go get."
What's all hubbub?
He gives this long speech about like the end of the world and is he culpable and should he be blamed? Should he be forgiven? And then he blows his brains out. And that's pretty good, but that's like the high water mark of the acting in the whole show. Greg Kinnear's in it. He's pretty good. Like he's usually pretty good in most
in
things.
A while. Yeah, he's usually.
I'm wondering if because the Stand is very heavy Christianity and like Catholic.
Yeah,
so I'm wondering if some of these people are just collecting paychecks or some of them are like converts,
like true believer type things.
Yeah, so they're like, well, I'll do this.
We got to do for next Christmas. We should just putting the Christ back in Christmas and do all those like religious apocalypse movies, like the ones that are made by Christians.
That would be.
Oh, hell yeah!
I like that idea.
Left Behind.
Yeah, there was one,
but there's so many. Like,
I think Jesse posted something where it was like the synopsis was like a crypto miner helps a minister after the apocalypse mail DVDs of sermons and gets executed by the New World Order or some shit. I'm sure it's super boring, but the fucking plot description's insane.
That's the futurist liberals want.
The other show I watched, the other show we finished was the new Dexter reboot or Dexter season.
Yeah,
and that was really good.
Now it's not a reboot, right? It's like
it's a continuation. It's like however many 15 years later, 10 years later, or whatever.
Yeah,
but it was really good. I liked it. I thought it was overall I enjoyed it, and hopefully they leave it as is and it's a self-contained story, and they don't just try to keep adding to it. But I thought it was good. Like Michael C. Hall's good. He's the only character. Well, his sister is in it, like is in flashback or not in flashbacks, like is his like conscience because she's dead, but they're the only two characters from the original show. Everybody else is all new characters.
Who plays his sister? Isn't it somebody hot?
No.
Oh, I can't remember her name.
She's been in stuff. I find her like painfully unattractive.
She was in the Quarantine movie.
Yeah, she was in Dragged Across Concrete. She was the character that gets introduced and has this lengthy scene and then dies, and you're like, why was she?
Oh.
Did you ever watch Dragged Across Concrete? Did we talk?
No,
about
which one? No, just the third of the racism trilogy that I haven't seen.
Her name's like
Jennifer Carpenter. Is her name?
Jennifer Carpenter. Yeah, I find her like
really. I think she's kind of hot, but she's got like a big man jaw, so that's probably why.
There's something about her that I find her like repugnant. Look, I don't know. I don't get it. But anyway, hey Alex, so do you still have Showtime?
Right now, yeah.
Because there's a show I keep hearing about that I'm like dying to see. I'm probably going to put it on the Plex. It's called Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, I watch it. I keep seeing the ads for it. It looks neat.
So it's about like a soccer team, or I think it's a soccer team.
It's like a girl soccer team that gets alived or something.
Yeah, they get like stranded in like the wilderness, and then it's a cross cuts between them getting trying to survive, and then 10 years later, and they're like grappling with like the horrible shit that they did. I'm like, oh yeah. That sounds like right up my alley. I really need to watch that.
Do you think they pitched it as a Ladybug sequel and then just had to change it like the Charlton Watchmen thing?
They get CGI Rodney Dangerfield in it. Anything else, Alan?
No. That's it. I know I've watched other stuff, but I didn't write it down. So if I don't write it down, I may as well not have watched it because I'm never going to remember it.
I know that feeling. All right. Pass the mic, please.
Sean.
I watched one thing.
One thing.
I watched Heathers.
You haven't been on it like a month.
Well, I mean, I've watched stuff before that, but I don't remember. It's busy
Okay.
sports time.
I watched stuff like last week when we were talking. Like I remember, like after we did the show, I was like, oh yeah, I watched like 3 other movies, but I don't know, I didn't like you just said, I didn't write it down, I didn't remember. It's like, yeah, whatever, I'll talk about it later some other time.
Bro, like I spend so much time
sometimes there are
watching
movies that I don't need to talk about.
Yeah, like how many times I gotta talk about aliens? But like, I also watch all these like fucking 3-hour like essays on YouTube, which like that's a different show. So like, Heather's is fucking awesome. I love
Heather's
that
rocks.
dude.
Did you watch
that movie?
Dead Girl? I know we've talked about it. That's the same. Either the same director and writer, or the same director also made Dead Girl, and I think that movie is absolutely fantastic. I think you'd really like it.
Well, it's so funny because he was talking about like he didn't want them to cast Winona Ryder because he thought she was too ugly. Meanwhile, he looks like if Sam Kinison got Medgar Evers, and
God,
like
I didn't know that.
Like he is heinous looking.
Also, Winona Ryder, like all-time smoke show for TJ.
Like my number one celebrity crush. Period.
Huge,
like hands down, hands up and down.
And she still looks great.
Yeah. Yeah, remember her in the 10 where she's like fucking with her big puppet cock? Like,
oh man, the 10. What a fucking gem of a movie.
Yeah.
That's a special place in my heart when me and Alec went and saw it in the theater.
Like Heather's, I don't want to talk about the movie because I think I've talked about it on the show before, but like it's trying to spawn all these other movies that never worked, like Jawbreakers and all these other kind of like dark girl movies, and it's
the Diablo Cody, the Diablo codification of movie scripts. Yeah,
that movie is like super cynical, like and like very I want to say like not politically correct. Like it's just incredibly dark. It feels like Bret Easton Ellis wrote it, kind of. If he was funny,
yeah, absolutely. No, I totally agree.
But no, it's like, oh yeah, Christian Slater, I love that dude. Like, too bad about Mr. Robot. That like the thing about that show is like a lot of people I love that show, and I've seen like a million videos about how great the cinematography is and this and that. But like, I tried watching it when you were watching it that one time.
3 episodes, and I was like, "Yep, that's enough."
And it was like, "Wait a minute, this is about the gold standard." And then it's like, "I took you in this private jet in international waters to tell you that I'm a homosexual." It's like, huh?
You're not even like, making that up. That is like, oh my god, what a terrible show! Like maybe it gets better, but like those first like handful of episodes, oof.
I'm just like trying to put myself in the position of like my boss flying me out over like Trinidad and Tobago to tell me he's gay. Like, dog, you could have just texted me. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
And I want to say that every time they show that character subsequently, he's like either butt fucking a dude or like just got done butt fucking a dude. It's like, yeah, we get it, man.
I mean,
like,
based like. But I love how there's. I want to watch Peacemaker, but my HBO Max, even though it's tied to my phone bill, still won't let me log in. It says I need to renew it, which I think is just God's way of preventing me from watching The Matrix 4.
Oh, I thought you meant the app wasn't. I'll send you my login information. Just use mine.
But I have like the thing, like it's just I have AT&T. You know what I mean? So it's part of the. It's like you know how you get a MLB with T-Mobile or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the same thing. Yeah, but I think literally it's just divine intervention to prevent me from having to watch The Matrix 4.
I mean, I don't mind I assume the login, dude.
All right, that's fine. I'll
so you can watch it.
Suckle at your streaming teat.
Now you're gonna watch The Matrix 4.
Yeah, I really just want you to watch The Matrix 4.
There's a kid at work that's like dying. The kid Matt is like everybody I know is named Matt is dying for me to fucking watch that movie just so I can complain about it.
That's kind of how I feel. Yeah, I feel the same way. Also,
like he hated it.
Yeah, so did I. All right, so that leaves me. I watched 2.5 things.
I didn't pass the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
No, yeah, I'm done. TJ.
Sorry. I had like always happens in my life these days. I had nothing but problems. My car broke down this week, so I had to go to the mechanic, and I got.
Oh, did you get to watch a mechanic movie?
Oh yeah.
Was it?
Hold on. Go ahead. You can guess.
Can I guess after Alec?
Sure. Do you guys want any hints?
No. Give me. No. I'll give you. Let me get 2 guesses, then Sean gonna have it.
Okay.
A perfect storm.
God damn it! That was mine.
The last time I was getting my car worked on, I saw like half of it.
It's a comedy, a family comedy. I'll give you that hint.
Big Mama's House.
No, that would have been Too edgy.
I'm going to go with either Cheaper by the Dozen
No, good guess though.
or Family Comedy. Family Comedy.
There's no way you're gonna guess this.
Is it Daddy Daycare?
No.
One hint, a small hint.
You know what? You're not gonna get it, but Adam Sandler's in it.
Spanglish?
No. Good guess though. I had to look this movie up. But not only did I watch this movie once, guys, I got stuck at the shop literally the entire day. So I got to watch this movie 3 times because it was just on a fucking loop. Like, I don't know what was hooked up to the TV. I don't know if it was like Netflix or whatever, but when the movie ended, like, you know how like on pretty much all the streaming services, when it like little options pop up for what do you want to watch next, but there was no like remote or anything, so it just kept looping this same movie. The title of the movie is Just Go With It, starring Jennifer Aniston and Adam Sandler.
That's like that's on like Netflix top 10 right now for some reason. Probably because of your
yeah,
because that auto shop.
I watched this movie literally 3 times in a row. I was on my phone, like, and reading and shit because I could not. I mean,
Ew.
Yeah, well, Adam Sandler or reading, Sean. I mean, it's like pick your poison. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a real Sophie's choice.
I watched this movie 3 goddamn times consecutively, which is like a level of hell I didn't know existed.
It's like Sisyphus.
It was so like, and it like the premise of the film. Now, granted, I didn't like look up at the screen once, so it was like a radio play for me. But the premise of the movie is that Adam Sandler is like this hotshot plastic surgeon who was a divorcee, but he found out that when he wore his wedding ring, like younger chicks wanted to fuck him. So like he's Adam Sandler and he's like fucking like 22-year-olds, and I'm like, what is this movie? So then he finds I forget her name. She was in a couple of movies. And she was like a Maxim girl. Her name was like Brooklyn Decker or something.
Yeah.
Hot blonde-haired chick, huge tits. So he meets her and wants to like impress her, and then has to come up with some scheme that him and his assistant at the plastic surgery store, Jennifer Aniston, like are married.
Plastic surgery store.
Yeah. It was so dumb, and of course, by the end of the movie, Jennifer Aniston and Adam Sandler fall in love, and it was just really bad.
What's her hair color in the movie?
Again, I never looked up at the TV. I have no idea. Also,
she never did much for me, except in Horrible Bosses, where she's a brunette, and she's just a smoke show. I don't know.
She's also super sexual in that movie.
Yeah.
But also the way that they set this TV up at the Mr. Tire, like. It was right in the sun, so even if I wanted to watch the movie, there was like such a glare on the screen that you couldn't see anything anyway. But I watched that movie 3 times because I was stuck there literally from 9:30 in the morning till 4:30 in the afternoon, which was great. You
know what? In that car's defense, TJ, I think I've had 4 cars in the amount of time that you've had that car, and it has 900,000 miles on it.
Well, I'm trying to keep it going, man.
You're gonna Al Bundy it. You'll be able to call Chevy.
Yeah.
Or call Ford and be like, "Hey, I'm about to go over $1 million. Do you want to film it?"
Yeah, I'm really trying to push this thing along until about September, and then I'm going to buy another car. So,
how many miles does it actually have?
Like over 200,000. Like I think it's got 200.
And they're like all fucking beltway miles. Like Baltimore to DC, fucking shit miles.
The other thing I watched is a movie that I watched a few months ago, and I felt like I talked about it on the show, but maybe I didn't. A movie called Censor, which is fucking great. I highly recommend it.
You did not, because you started talking about it on your like year-end stuff. But you never talked about it on an episode.
It's a great movie. I highly recommend it. It's like a little bit of like throwback 70s slasher, and then kind of like Lynchian. Like it's fantastic. It's the debut film from this director, writer and director. She did a great job. I love the movie. It is the whole premise of the movie is that this. So in the 70s, Britain had really strict censorship laws, and they had this list of movies, affectionately known as the video nasties, where it was like movies like Driller Killer and like Cannibal Holocaust and Mondo and shit like that, stuff where they deemed it, like England deemed them like too dirty to like be
the video nasties.
Yeah, to be distributed in the country at all. So they had to censor them to hell. So the main character is one of these people that's censoring things, but then she's involved in this kind of like she's got this mysterious past where her sister disappeared, and then she thinks that her sister's disappearance is tied to one of these like sleazy grindhouse filmmakers, and it's really wild. And I don't want to give too much away because it's definitely got a lot of twists and turns. But it's shot like really, really well. I thought all the performances are really well done. Highly, highly recommended. Really cool movie. And like by the time it's over, you just want to watch it again. There's I don't want to give anything away, but there's like really cool like video editing tricks that they do, like specifically right at the end of the movie, where you're kind of dealing with an unreliable narrator, but like it's done in a lot of different projects. But I always like when the illusion breaks down, but it's like subtle. Like I always like that kind of like trope. And there's a really cool scene towards the end of the movie where like the character is seeing one thing, but then there's like flashes of like what's actually happening. And I always think that's fucking badass. But yeah, Censor, really cool movie. I believe it's streaming on Shudder. So if you don't have access to my Plex, it's on Shudder. But I highly recommend it. Very good. And also short. It's only 92 minutes long. So, I mean,
Perfect.
That alone makes it like a better movie. And I watched the first 3 episodes of Peacemaker, which I loved. I thought it was great. John Cena has become like such a fantastic comedic actor. Like as someone that, and we're all on this team that have watched like the dredges of what John Cena's, how he started as an actor to where he is now. It's kind of amazing how far he's come, but he is very good in the show.
I don't know. He did throw that chick through that bus window in fucking The Marine, which is pretty awesome.
Awesome. But, I mean, The Marine was awesome. Let's not... Oh, actually, I'm glad you brought that up, Sean, because Peacemaker reunites... what's that guy's name? Richard Patrick? Is that his
Robert
name?
Patrick?
Robert Patrick?
Yeah.
It reunites Robert Patrick and John Cena.
Hell yeah.
Robert Patrick is John Cena's father in this. And it's really good. It jumps right off from Suicide Squad, which is great. It's funny. James Gunn directed the whole series, which is cool. I thought he was just going to like produce it. I didn't realize he was directing like the whole thing, but he wrote and directed it. But it's really great. If you like the Suicide Squad, you'll love it. It just takes up right where it left off. Vigilante is a character that probably 7 people know about, and he's in
Did
it.
like Garth Ennis do a Vigilante series or a mini or something? Like I think
he did like a one-shot a million years. Or Vigilante might have done like a crossover with Hitman, I think.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
But anyway, it's really good. I highly recommend it. I mean, I think all the 2 of you are gonna love it. I mean, it's James Gunn being unhinged James Gunn, and John Cena showing his ass and making funny comments like he's going through this chick that he's banging's record collection, and she's got all this like hair metal, and he finds like Cinderella, and he's like, this is the best time when men weren't afraid to be men, and they look like women, and you'd want to fuck those women, and that's what made them men. Because like he's got this like his character is like what's his name? Russell Crowe's like a beautiful mind. Like he's like painfully like unaware of how to be social with like normal people, because he's like been a superhero all his life and he's just trained to kill, and it's like all he knows how to do. So when he like interacts with like normal people, he just says like the weirdest shit and doesn't understand that it's like wrong, which is hilarious. Like,
yeah, I gotta watch this shit. I'm excited.
He calls this waitress Sweet Cheeks, and everybody's like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Like Sweet Cheeks? He's like, what? She had a beautiful face. That's not what that means. What are you talking about? Like, and also he wears his like superhero costume everywhere. I think you guys are gonna love it. Like the intro to the show, like the intro credits, is a giant dance number with the entire cast, which is brilliant. Like I loved it. I mean, more of this kind of weird shit. Just give James Gunn every DC property, like everything except Batman he can have. Just make it all.
Yeah, give him a show with the what was the fucking the Shadow Pact with Ragman and Detective Chimp and Blue Devil and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, the fucking what was the one thing that Grant Morrison did for a while? The 13 Soldiers or whatever with all
Oh,
those
Seven
weird
Soldiers
ass
of Victory, yeah, with
fucking
Frankenstein and Bullet
Frankenstein,
Man or whatever.
all that weird bullshit. Yeah, give them
Yeah.
all that. But anyway, yeah, I highly recommend that. And there's three. They started off by the first 3 episodes are up. I don't know what the release schedule is after that, but the first 3 episodes are streaming now. Very good. And that's it. So let's talk about Police Story.
Real quick, did you guys know that do you know the character Hit Monkey?
Mm-hmm.
You know there's a animated Hulu show?
I've seen it advertised. I've yet to actually watch it.
I saw it on there the other day. I haven't watched it, but I saw it and I was like, I vaguely remember that character, but I had no idea they made a show about it.
Yeah, it like kind of snuck in under the radar. Like it was one of those things. Like when they announced way back when they announced the MODOK show, they announced that Hit Monkey show, and there was supposed to be like a Squirrel Girl. Like what? I guess it's what turned into What If, but there was all kinds of stuff that came in. Only the MODOK show and Hit Monkey came out. But I
You guys seen the Moon Knight costume?
No, is it cool?
Oh, it looks so good.
I can't wait for that show.
Yeah, it's coming out like next month, maybe.
Especially with how good the Marvel shows were all last year. Like we talked about it on the show, but I thought all of those shows were great. Like I enjoyed every single one of them. So bring them on. Keep making shows. Stop making movies. Just make shows. I feel like they're more compelling. But
yeah,
anyway.
they probably are. But you're probably not going to be able to convince Benedict Cumberbatch at this point to do a 8-episode show.
No.
He's a prestige actor.
I mean, he did start out doing that.
I mean, he started out doing it. He's all past that now.
That is true.
He's making $20 million movie or whatever.
Make him hold out for Jupiter Ascending too.
Oh, fuck yeah.
He was really good in Spider-Man.
Weird quick plug for Nate's show. I'm sitting here listening to Alec and Gogs on Nate's show and like shouting Gonzo's girlfriend chicken's name in my kitchen while I'm like trying to do fucking math at work. I'm like, it's fucking Camilla. Why don't you guys know that?
Yeah, goddamn.
I think I said Matilda like 5 times.
I mean, that's pretty close. At least you're close. That was pretty close. Oh, one thing. This is just something that someone pointed out on something I was listening to, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I can't believe I didn't think about that." So, Alec, you know, in No Way Home, when Doctor Strange separates Spider-Man from his body, but Spider-Man's body's still reacting. You know why that is?
I assume because it was like spider sense.
Yeah, how did I didn't think of that. Yeah, that's exactly
because that's how Doctor Strange is like, how are you doing this?
Yeah, it's a spider sense. It's like not even like it consciously controlling itself. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't even think about that.
There's a lot of cool stuff in there that I've seen since then that I didn't notice. Like, I really got to watch it again.
Yeah,
I'll probably wait till it comes out.
Is it a hot take that like I just straight up hate JJ Watt?
JJ, who's JJ?
Or TJ Watt. The Steelers player? Watt. Yeah.
Oh, is that game's on, isn't it?
Yeah. Pittsburgh just scored a touchdown, 7-0.
It would be, like, as much as I hate Pittsburgh, it would be kind of hilarious if they won.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Like, it'd be kind of funny, because they're so bad, and they just keep winning games. Anyway, let's talk about Police Story. Alec, what happened in 1985's Police Story?
Well, you know, buddy, for the first time in the history of this show, I can't tell you.
Really?
Because I tried watching it like 4 times, and I could not watch it.
Oh, no.
Really?
I was so bored and uninterested. I did not watch the movie fully. I watched like the first 20 minutes.
I'm not surprised because this movie has an incredibly soggy middle as far as Hong Kong movies go.
I am genuinely shocked.
Do you want me to just run through it real quick?
Sure, Sean, go ahead.
Okay. So, depending on which version of this movie you watch, like, I'm normally watch, like, the Chinese version or the Hong Kong version with subtitles, but I decided to go, like, fucking cuckoo bananas and watch this dubbed version on YouTube, where the character's name is Jackie Chan, like Chris Tucker wrote it. I think in some versions, he's called Kevin, and in some versions, he just has his regular, like, Hong Kong name, which is something Chan.
It's like Lee or Lu. No, it's like QQ or it's something weird. Yeah.
Yeah. they are after this criminal man who is protected. They go to like a Chinese favela, I guess,
Yeah.
to catch up with him. And then they have one of the most dangerous stunt scenes in human history.
God. Right
where
off
they're
the bat.
Yeah, they're
like,
chasing
Jesus
through, they're
Christ.
wrecking cars through actual people's houses. This whole movie feels like it was shot gonzo, to paraphrase Gogs. Because it just seems like they're just wrecking everybody's like real shit on purpose. Like these don't look like sets. I think this is like
I was thinking that like it was so funny you say that, because as I was watching this stunt, I was like, well, they had to build all this, and then I was like, oh wait, this is Hong Kong. They probably didn't. They probably just found this place and were like, fuck it, just go. Like, there's not a lot. Like every time you think about like stuntman safety, or like they couldn't do this because that would kill somebody, they just do that shit.
I think there's legitimate people in this town that don't know a movie is happening and are jumping out of the way of the cars. Like,
I wouldn't doubt it. It was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. Also, I really want a Mitsubishi Space Wagon, which is one of the cars that the guy drives.
It's the most dangerous car chase featuring the gooberest cars you've ever seen in your life. Like, it's definitely not like a Fast and Furious thing.
These little boxy 80s Mitsubishi cars.
Like, they're going like 40 miles an hour, but it's straight down a mountain through these like cardboard houses people live in.
Yeah, and they constantly are exploding the goddamn propane tanks that are like next to them. Like, it looks
it's like a
dangerous.
Pete Buttigieg level gentrification project. And then, to Alex's defense, the movie stops for an hour to become a French farce.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, if you're not familiar with Hong Kong movies, especially ones from this era, like, the movie is incredibly silly for about an hour, and then becomes extremely serious for the last half an hour. So, Jackie Chan's assigned to watch over this secretary / daughter of the criminal.
Oh, I thought I could be missing this, but thought that...
Remember that this is a dubbed version of it, so like it might be some kind of different relationship.
So in the subtitle version, they say that, like, I thought it was implied that she was like a romantic interest to the mob boss, but they do say, like, they give the backstory where she's like, well, he always helped my family and all this shit, was like basically lent them money, so she was in debt to him and all. But I didn't think like it
could just be a localization thing, because like to look at the two of them in age, they're sort of like, oh, this doesn't make any goddamn sense. Why would they be dating? Like,
and her name is May, right? Is that her name? Yeah. And there is a hilarious there's a lot of very hilarious, because it's like, it's just stuff you wouldn't see nowadays. But like the first time they encounter each other it's during the shootout right before the car chase. Like, Jackie Chan just keeps smacking her in the face.
Yeah.
And it's like, Jesus Christ. Like, what is this?
Yeah, the Far East attitude towards women had not caught up.
More about that later. There is a part in this movie that I literally was like...
Well, I was going to jump to the simulated rape / murder. Is that what you're talking about?
No, well, I was talking more about the, like, who's on first, like, phone bit. That was like, there's a part in this movie. It's played as a joke, because like Sean
you're talking about when Jackie's girlfriend is on the phone.
Yeah, so Jackie's girlfriend. Yeah. So Jackie Chan is like in the dispatch. He's a cop, and he's in like the dispatch center of the police station. But they do like this bit where he's got to answer like 7 phones at once, and it's like he constantly is like picking up a phone and then like rolling around the office and picking up another phone, and like the first phone call is like, my cow went missing, or something like that. Then the other phone call is like his girlfriend, and her mother is coming into town or something. And then the third phone call is literally, I just got raped. That's like a bit. That's like a comedy line. And then, like, of course, the joke is that he gets the phone call conversations confused.
Well, they excise the rape joke in this dub, although there are 4 different dubs.
Yeah, in the subtitle version, it is literally, I just got raped, is the fucking bit. And, like, it goes back and forth. And it's like, that was what you landed on for like your comedic bit. Like, what the fuck? Like, god damn, like, I don't care what era it is. Like, that's a weird thing just to be like, oh, she's just like she's misreporting a rape.
I don't
Like,
know.
what
There's that great rape joke in the first RoboCop where it's like, you have suffered a serious trauma. I will refer you to a rape crisis center. Like, yeah.
But also, that movie is kind of intentionally, like, insanely over the top. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Unlike this movie, which is incredibly
dystopian.
grounded.
So wait, what simulated sex scene?
Well, when he has his buddy come in there to scare her, for reasons I'm still not 100% sure why they happen.
He's trying, because at the time, like, she doesn't feel that she needs a bodyguard, and he's trying to convince her that it's dangerous out there without him. So he has his cop buddy.
Right, but it doesn't really matter what she thinks because she's like a material witness and like it's their jurisdiction.
Yeah, it's very odd. No, that like also, but I have to point this out that she literally lives in like vaporwave the apartment.
For her bathroom is just like, it's like every rich person from the 80s from different dimensions like crashed into each other.
Her literally, you could it's funny because I've seen this actually done. But, like, almost any part of this movie that's not, like, karate kicking, like, it's just the sets and, like, maybe not the beginning, but, like, when it's
the drip in this movie is incredible.
You can screenshot any of this stuff and put it on the cover of, like, a Vaporwave album, and people be like, oh, yeah, that fits. Like, it's so, like, that aesthetic. Like, to the point where it's, like, kind of amazing. Like, I guess, you know, obviously that shit didn't really, that whole idea didn't exist when I watched it 30 years ago, but it definitely, like, now it's like, wow, yeah, it's all over it.
So he sneaks up on her with the realest knife you ever saw. Oh yeah, she has a curious sequence of events where you think she's going to take a bath. She's wearing like, I don't know how to describe this outfit, but it's like a cross between like lingerie and a tennis outfit.
Yeah, it's like lingerie, but then she's got lingerie socks.
Right.
Like,
yeah. And then but it's like a shorts and blouse combo. And then she puts on like a formal lab coat. Like, this bitch is wearing like 7 coats. Like, I don't know what, but then they have the big fake, like, slapstick assault scene.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty funny when
it is funny.
She knocks out his buddy, and
he's like Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah, he's like holding him up. He's like, I don't know. I thought that was pretty funny. I actually thought like a lot of like not the phone rape bit, but like a lot of like the physical comedy bits I thought were pretty funny. Like,
it's funny, but like it is like. This movie is incredibly tonally inconsistent.
Oh yeah. Well, again, I think like I forgive a lot of that because I'm used to it. Like this is like this like, style of movie. Like it's,
you know, like I don't want to like speak for Alec, but like if I came into this totally cold, not familiar with like the conventions of these movies, I'd be like, what in the fuck is this?
Yeah. No, I mean I still feel that way, but I appreciate how weird it is. Like. One of my favorite parts of the movie is it's coming up after this. Like, so he rescues her from the fake attacker or whatever, and then she like kind of like warms up to him being her protector. And I think then they go to, or no, there's like there's something that happens to his car.
Well, there's a fight scene outside.
Oh, there's fight scene between the 2 cars is fucking awesome.
Where everybody gets kicked through like real windshields, I think.
That scene, there's a fucking stunt where I don't even think it's Jackie Chan. I think it's somebody else. But they jump, like off the roof of a car, through another car. Like does like a double kick through the window. It's like unbelievable. And like
I don't know if they have different kinds of sugar glass in Hong Kong, but it breaks the way like old school glass does, where like in big jagged shards. It doesn't like shatter like you expect. So like you wonder if they even gimmick the cars, or they're just like, we'll figure it out.
There's also like a lot of points in this movie where I almost texted you all this, but like, did they know crash pads exist? Because there's a lot of falls in this movie where they just show them falling and they hit the ground. Like usually, you know, in a movie, the ground is literally off camera. So there's some like
scenes in this. I thought maybe you would know because I had never been able to figure it out or find anything. Are these speed ramp like in editing? Are they clipping like single frames out to make it look like that, or is it like they're just going full
I
ass and
think
like
that
the
they're
camera
just.
can't keep up with them?
I think they're just going full ass. To be honest, like I know that like
Because
these
there are scenes where
things.
they run and like slide over cars that look like they're going like twice as fast as the film is going.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's like a little bit of that, but I know for a fact that Jackie Chan has said that like most of his movies and most like excuse me, like most of the Hong Kong stuff at this era was they they didn't have very big budgets. They wanted to make a big spectacle and they didn't have a lot of time. So like that's why a lot of this shit was like corners were cut and they wanted to make like the best looking thing possible. So like a lot of times they're just beating the shit out of each other. They're doing these insane stunts like once because they only got the budget for one take and the goggles do nothing. And it's insane. Like I don't know. I think like the fight scenes in this movie are just like so fucking crisp and like they just have so much weight to them.
Well, it's cool because they still have a fair amount of cuts. They're not like they're like all a bunch of one take shots, but like the camera is very still and pulled back, so the cuts aren't super distracting because like you know where everything is.
Yeah,
and the cuts like follow the action as opposed to like making the action, if that makes any sense.
No, and I think like we've talked about this before with different martial arts movies, but I think the fact that Jackie Chan directed this, I think like he you know what I mean? Like he knows what he's looking at. Like, and I think that's why the John Wick movies, like the action scenes are so good because that guy is a fucking stuntman or whatever.
Yeah,
like it helps and it makes things like I don't know, like I said, all of the stunts and all of the fighting in this movie feel. Like, I remember seeing stuff like that. Like, we're going to talk about this later with my pick when it comes up. But, like, I remember the first time seeing this kind of thing as a young man and only being familiar with, like, American kung fu movies and, like, seeing this and being like, Jesus Christ. Like, imagine watching, like, American Ninja and then seeing this. It's, like, it's not even in, like, the same, like, realm. Like, it doesn't even seem possible to do this kind of stunt work, you know?
Yeah.
And this level of like precision too, like the actual like choreography of like the kicking and punching is.
Well, let's just wrap up the plot as it goes, so we can get to like the best part. Yeah. So after this, like, there's some back and forth like infernal affairs. Like, it's a Hong Kong cop movie, so everybody's got to be turning on everybody. There's like 6 heel turns in a row.
Oh yeah,
and like it becomes incredibly serious where Jackie Chan is now framed for murder, and I'm calling him Jackie Chan because in the version of the movie I watched his name is Jackie Chan. And then he has to go for vengeance, and vengeance just turns into the biggest ass mall fight you've ever seen in your entire life, where I think they wrecked an actual mall, because like if this is a set, like it's the best set that's ever been made, and because it looks like a functioning mall with people that are not aware of what's going on.
It's a house of horrors too, because it's literally just one insane stunt after another. Like, and like some of the
Hong Kong's economy must have been 80% glass based at this point, like,
right? Well, and sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No. You finish.
No. I'm saying like when they broke away from communist China, I guess it was just with glass artifacts, because there's like a glass staircase sculpture for no reason that this guy gets put through. There's of all these like great stunts, there's this like minor stunt where I think a guy might have actually died or at least has CTE, where he gets his head rammed into the handrail of an escalator.
Oh my god, yeah.
At about 1,000 miles an hour, just full on in the face.
Well, what about I think one of the most impressive things is like a lot of times like that old man takes some fucking business. Like that old man gets run over by a fucking motorcycle and then kicked through a glass table, and he's like just an old man. Like, good lord. Like,
there's one where a guy jumps off the second level of the mall just straight up and takes a flat back bump through like another like glass counter about how would you just make that's like 15 feet down, which doesn't sound like a lot. Yeah. But at terminal velocity through what I assume is real glass does not look super comfortable.
Yeah, it's nuts. And like then there's the big stunt that they do like the Dolomite replay on, where Jackie Chan he slides down like an electrical light pole.
Bro,
And
they knew this stunt was good because this is the only time I've ever seen it in a movie where they do an instant replay of the stunt three times.
It's the Dolomite thing, yeah. They do it in other Jackie Chan movies too. Like they do it in Armor of God, and they do it in Project. What the hell is that other movie called?
Project A?
Yeah, Project A. They do Project. Have you ever seen Project A? He does he redoes the Buster Keaton clock fall.
Yeah.
And I think he like legitimately like broke his back doing that because he fell like 65 feet or something insane.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Remember when he broke his foot doing Rumble in the Bronx and had to wear that cast that they painted to look like a shoe?
Yeah, it's fucking like I don't know how Jackie Chan's not and. Forget Jackie Chan. How are these stuntmen not dead? Because at the end of the movie, they show like the outtakes, and like there's so many stunts. Like you talked about the one where the guy drops from like the escalator, and like they literally show it. He just jumps. Like there's no like gimmick.
The credits for this movie rule because the first credit is just an ad for a watch company.
Yeah.
And then like we talk about this all the time where movies just kind of end. This movie literally just ends in freeze frame. It's nuts.
There's also like a funny. There's a bit. So there's a lot of the comedy in the middle of the movie comes from Jackie Chan and his girlfriend Maggie Kyung, who is in a ton of Hong Kong movies from at the time. But like just the weirdest situations, like Maggie Kyung, like he takes that girl he's protecting home to his apartment, and Maggie Kyung is having a surprise birthday party for him, to which Jackie Chan goes, "Oh yeah, it's my birthday. I forgot." And anyway, like this is one of the funniest scenes I thought in the movie. Jackie Chan totally no-sells the fact that his girlfriend thinks he's fucking another woman because she's in her weird tennis lingerie outfit that Sean was talking about earlier. And he's like, she shouldn't be mad. I'm doing my job. Like, fuck her. And then like proceeds to just call her like an idiot. And then like, it's fucking hilarious. And then
like I don't call her when something's wrong. She calls me. Fuck that bitch. I hate her.
And then like that scene ends with him trying to like make up with her, and she's on this like moped, and he literally like grabs her off the back of the moped as it's still going, which like doesn't seem like it'd be that dangerous, but then you watch the outtake where the thing like totally just fucking peels out and like she falls like directly on her head. It's like,
how about the outtake where he almost gets killed in the first scene of the movie by that bus?
With the bus? That scene in the movie doesn't look that bad until you realize, they literally just stopped that fucking bus. They didn't have it's just a bus going.
Yeah, it wasn't like an in-camera trick. It was just like, well, let's hope Zhao Dang is good on the brakes because we're fucked otherwise.
Speaking of that bus scene, the fucking guys that pop out of those windows, they literally just fucking take full-on headers onto the fucking street. God damn. Anyway, So I don't know. Alec, I'm really surprised that you couldn't get into this at all. Even though when it got to like the crazy fighting and stuff?
No, it's... Really? I don't know what I was expecting. But between
me neither.
I don't know. It was not for me, and it was just
no.
Maybe I would have done better with a dubbed version instead of the subtitles. And I could have focused a little better, and not had to watch the words as I was trying to watch all of the action too.
Can I ask a question real quick? Like, do you get this, like, because I do this sometimes, like, when it's a movie that's subtitled, like, I expect it to be a drama or something, like, because I gotta read and not look at what's going on as much, so when it's not, like, it's distracting. Like, I can't watch a comedy that's subtitled, like, at all.
Yeah, probably. I associate subtitles with, like, prestige-type movies.
Yeah.
Like
this.
Important dramas, not crazy Hong Kong action Jackie Chan movies.
Fuck comedies.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about where he's in the courtroom and he goes to play the fucking witness account or whatever of what's going on, and it's just like Striper for 2 minutes, and everybody's
Also,
it's an old tape.
They wear because it's Hong Kong, and I guess they wear the little wigs, which are funny to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Colonizers.
Yeah, it's hilarious to me. All right, well, let's get into Five Knuckle Shuffles. I will start off with Gogs. He texted in his score.
And his score was, I'm a big stupid moron with a big butt, and I like to kiss my own butt.
My own butt. Yeah. Where the fuck is it? Hold on.
I think he gave it an 8 or a 9. I can't recall.
Let's see here. Fellas, I'm gay, but not in the cool way. I'm gay in the way nobody likes. What? That joke doesn't make
What,
sense.
like Pete Buttigieg? I hate to keep harping on the transportation secretary, but he's like an pretty easy target. Yeah.
He's not cool gay at all. Let's see here. Police Story was a 6 for story, 10 for action, so an 8, but the making of scenes during the credit pushed it to a 9. So he gave it a 9. That's very high.
Bro, I don't need a fucking graph. Just give me a score.
He gave it a 9. That's very high. All right.
Yeah, let's not go crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm not going to give it a 9.
No.
Alec, well, why not? It's gonna be bad, so might as well get out of the way.
I guess it's a 5. It's unmemorable.
Oof. I'm
gonna remember it.
I'm just really surprised. I wonder, is this one of those situations where you would have had a better time if you were with all of us?
I mean, probably, because then I would have had to watch it too. I wouldn't have the option to just
and we would have talked over all the boring parts.
Yeah.
Also,
probably.
I will say that,
like every movie, I can't think of any movies that wouldn't be improved by watching them together.
I can. Full Metal Alchemist.
Imagine watching that on your own.
Oh my god, I would die,
bro! I fell asleep while you guys were there.
That is true.
Not even in my own house.
I forgot that you fell asleep during that. All right. Sean.
Sean wakes up. Are we to the Alchemist yet, or is it still the Full Metal part?
I do appreciate watching. I'm sorry, Sean. I do appreciate us watching that movie because I understand that like girl turning into a dog is a meme that's used all the time, and I'm glad we watched the movie simply for the fact that now I understand that meme.
I mean, that's a long way to go for that, but yeah. It's a 7 for me. Like the action scenes are fucking fantastic. I've seen that mall fight, like independent of the movie 6 or 7 times, let alone the entire movie. But there's like nothing in between the 3 big set pieces, which is all there really is. There's the town destruction, there's the car fights, and then there's the mall fight. And between that, it's too silly to be compelling for me. You know what I mean? It's not like a Infernal Affairs. I hate to keep bringing that up. Or City on Fire or something like that. Like, it doesn't earn how serious it gets in the last 20 minutes. And then the mall fight, although it is awesome, is also silly. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like this serious, like, I'm trying to think, like, the sporting goods store fight in Day of Reckoning. Where it's like super over the top, but it's like intensely serious.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's like a classic too for me. Like, again, I've seen this movie and Police Story 2 and Police Story Lockdown and Police Story The New Generation. Like, I've seen every one of these movies as far as I know, at least twice. I think the New Generation one has like my favorite line, like, I'd rather take a piss than help you.
That's the one in the nightclub with the
kids, with the kid cops.
And that's not the
children.
Same one.
Oh,
the one I'm thinking of, like, there's like a hostage situation in a nightclub, and then there's like they start like a fight club in the middle of the hostage.
No, I think that's like 3. There's like 5 Police Story movies.
It's one of the newer ones. Jackie Chan is older in it. I watched it last year. It was not very good.
But yeah, like it's not a good movie. Like you use this all the time. It's like a shorty's bar movie. It's like it's on while you're out drinking, like hitting on goth chicks, and it's just on in the side somewhere.
Yeah, and
it's like, oh, that's fucking awesome. What is this? But like, as far as hey, let's sit down and watch Police Story. It's like, I'm good. We'll just,
Yeah.
But the things with Jackie Chan, he's not in a lot of like what I would consider like really compelling movies. Like, I love like Legend of Drunken Master and stuff, but it's not like, again, I'm gonna sit down and just watch Legend of Drunken Master or Drunken Master 2 or any shit like that. Like, it's something you dust off every once in a while. It's like a one of those like machines that you have at your house that like make grilled sandwiches.
Yeah.
Like the sandwich pockets. It's like, oh, I got it. I might as well use it. And then, but it takes you like an hour to get all the greasy dust off of it, and it's like not worth it at all.
I haven't seen any of them, but apparently he's been in a bunch of like historical Chinese movies, like they're
Like the ones John Woo's been making.
Yeah,
like those
apparently
big
those are they're great, but I haven't watched a lick of them, and I think they're like 4 hours long. So
yeah,
but apparently they're very good, and he's very good in them. So I don't know.
Yeah. But just the choreography, you know me, I love stunts, especially where like people almost die, and this is the progenitor to like those Indonesian movies.
Oh, absolutely.
Which are my like absolute favorites. So
yeah, I mean,
it's a 7.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, Teagles.
It's also a 7 for me. I think that this is like a classic example of like I like a lot of movies that are objectively bad. Like I like a lot of Euro horror stuff. And like I like Lucio Fulci movies. Like I love The Beyond, but like if you look at The Beyond objectively, it's kind of bad. But like there's so many cool moments in the movie. Like you remember the good stuff, you don't remember kind of the schloggy parts, and that's exactly what this movie is for me. Like this, I mean that opening scene is so good, and like all of the fighting, like all of it, every scene where they like start fighting is so fucking good. That like the like comedy bits, like again Jackie Chan, we talked about this last week too. Jackie Chan loves his like very old style comedy. Like he loves his like kind of like Abbott and Costello.
Yeah, it's very
comedy.
broad, like accessible slapstick comedy.
Well, he's like 90 years old. That's what he grew up on.
That is correct.
But he loves that kind of shit, and it doesn't really work. I do like. I mean, again, there are some bits that I do find genuinely funny. Like the stuff with him and his girlfriend, I find really funny. I kind of forgot to mention it, but
yeah, but is it funny on the page, or is it just funny because it's so awkward and weird? You know what I mean? Like,
well, it's funny because I agree. It's funny because it's awkward and weird, and Jackie Chan has weird energy that he brings to it. I mean, either way, it's funny to me. Like if it's But there's a stunt in this movie where for some reason Jackie Chan's fucking car doesn't have a parking brake, so it's just like fucking like he parks it, but it's still like moving, and he asks his girlfriend to like hold the car in place, and it seems like and eventually she like lets it go, and it goes down the street and like careens into like a ditch. But like they show an outtake at the end of this movie where that car literally almost ran over Maggie Kyung, and it's like it's not even like a fucking like big stunt, and it's still like crazy dangerous. Like I don't know, like there's so much to like about the movie, and I am forgiving its shortcomings like very much, and I'll be the first one to admit it, but like its strengths are so good that like I still will watch this movie fondly, and like the fighting is so good and the stunts are so cool, and the fact that like Sean just said, like this is like it's kind of, this is a weird comparison, but I'm going to say it anyway. Like when I was the same age, I was very much the same age when I got into Hong Kong movies and Japanese movies and that kind of thing. I was very much into fucking ECW and deathmatch wrestling and that kind of, and it's got the same vibe where it's like this shit seems dangerous and it's exciting to me. Like I know it's stupid.
Well, it seems dangerous because it is dangerous. Like,
right. But that there is something to me, and obviously, like I'm not really into like deathmatch wrestling anymore. But like, there's something in my lizard brain that like I find that shit compelling, and like I really enjoy it, and I'm able to overlook some pretty glaring problems with the movie. And also, even though the movie does have its pacing issues, it's only 95 minutes long. It's very short, so like it's kind of over before it started. So I thank God. I mean. I know it's a low bar to clear, but like nowadays, like any movie under 2 hours automatically gets a little bit of a bump in my eyes because it's like
they just released the running time for the new Batman movie.
I know
2 hours and 55 minutes, and I was just like, ew.
I can't wait for that movie, but goddamn, why does it got to be 3 hours long?
Can they just release it in 2 parts, like within a couple months, like the old Matrix movies? Because I'd be way more into that than sitting through a fucking 3-hour Batman movie.
Why does it got to be 3 hours long? Anyway, and it looks great too. Like the movie looks really good.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's Police Story. Who's picked next week?
Yours.
All right, so I'm changing my pick. I was going to pick Drunken Master 2. But watching this, I got very nostalgic, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take it all the way back to the beginning of my love for Jackie Chan. And one of, if not the first Jackie Chan experience I had that made a huge impact on me was Rumble in the Bronx.
Hell yeah.
So we're going to watch Rumble in the Bronx.
Shot in Vancouver.
Yeah, but that movie came out, I don't know if you guys remember this, but that movie came out like in the theaters over here.
Yeah.
And it was like a big push, and I think it's one of the reasons Jackie Chan became like the guy in Rush Hour and in Shanghai Nights.
Yeah, for sure.
And stuff like
Yeah,
that. So,
it spawned a bunch of shit between that and all the Tarantino stuff. I remember I saw Iron Monkey on video, then 6 months later they released it in the theater. I was like, what the fuck?
But I just remember that having like a huge impact on me, and I thought it'd be fun to watch. Like I remember having, I think it's like another more like lighthearted Jackie Chan movie.
Yeah.
Like I think I like Drunken Master 2 a lot, but it's kind of like serious, and I remember it being kind of long. Yeah. So I figured Rumble in the Bronx would be better.
I'm for sure picking The Foreigner.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that movie. And it's already on the Plex.
Ooh, hell yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, next week. Alec, have you seen Rumble in the Bronx?
I don't think I have.
It's a lot of fun.
Like maybe I may have seen it because that was something that was on like TBS and TNT a lot. So maybe I have, but I don't think so.
You're going to recognize a lot of the same actors from Police Story, like the police chief in this movie. Or no, he wasn't the chief. He was Jackie Chan's like boss. The chief was like somebody else, but the guy that was Jackie Chan's boss in this movie is Jackie Chan's uncle in Rumble in the Bronx. And I believe Maggie Kyung is also in Rumble in the Bronx, but I could be wrong. But Rumble in the Bronx is a lot of fun. I'm excited to rewatch it. I haven't watched it since like the 90s, so I'm very excited to rewatch it. So,
okay.
Also interested to see if there's like other versions, because I assume there is. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if they edited anything out of the American theatrical cut or whatever, but I'm sure there is. But anyway, next week, Rumble in the Bronx.
Yeah, I have listener questions for everybody.
Oh, okay.
We have listeners?
But I'll just wait to do it. I was going to do it this week, but I'll do it next week since Gogs isn't here. Because I get individual questions for everyone.
Oh.
It's not questions for the whole group. It's a question per person.
Ooh.
Okay. So I'll wait till next week.
Do one. Do TJ.
Just
tease it.
Give us a tease.
Okay, hold on. Let me pull it up.
Hell yeah. Oh, you're talking about the questions.
Yeah. Okay, the question for TJ is, who in Hollywood wouldn't TJ fuck? Because every time we bring up a woman on the show, TJ's like, oh, she's hot. I'd fuck her.
We talked about her earlier
Dexter's sister.
Jennifer Carpenter.
Oh, that poor broad.
I am not a fan, at all. Like, she's rough. I watched those, so the movie that she's in, that was like a remake, Quarantine or whatever, that's a remake of a movie called REC, which I really loved. And I remember just being like, why is she in this movie? She's so gross. Get her out of this fucking
Spanish movie?
Yeah, you ever seen it? It's awesome.
Yeah. I didn't know they remade it.
That's what Quarantine is.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
But she's like, I've never seen it, but in Quarantine, she's like a news reporter.
Mm-hmm.
And a building that gets quarantined because of a zombie outbreak or something.
It's kind of like The Raid meets a zombie movie. It's good. It's really good. REC is good. Quarantine was fine. It wasn't awful. It wasn't great. And that gross bitch was in it.
The dusty old 23-year-old bitch. Remember Gogs was like, dusty old broad. It's like, she's younger than you.
Yeah, Gogs is the best. Gogs is like this old ass bitch. It's like, dude, she's 30, man. What the fuck?
Gogs is Hollywood.
I do love it though. He's literally Hollywood. He's like trying to lose some weight, honey.
Do some squats.
We'll cast you as the grandmother.
Well, didn't he say what actress did
Margot Robbie needs to do some squats?
Margot Robbie wasn't hot enough for Gogs.
Meanwhile, I can hear Gogs bend over. You know what I'm saying? Let's get our priorities straight.
Oh, that's just too fucking funny. I mean, to be honest, it's content, right? It's hilarious. I'm glad.
Oh no,
he's the way he is.
I
It's
love it.
funny
I
as
hope he
hell.
never changes because like that shit is hysterical.
It's
I mean,
so
we're still
funny.
talking about it.
Yeah, the Margot Robbie doing some squats. It's like one of the funniest things I've ever heard. It's great. I love it. I love it so much.
Good old
And
gods.
also somehow he can say it and it's endearing and not
Yeah,
like
it's cute.
cringy and like
Yeah.
like I don't know. You read a lot of shit on Reddit and you're like, what the fuck's the matter
Because
with
like
you?
he doesn't really mean it, but he
Right.
100% means it. You know what I mean? Like he knows he's not supposed to mean it, but like deep down, like he really does mean it.
Anyway, all right, fellas. Well, Alec, I genuinely hope you enjoy Rumble in the Bronx. I don't like when you outright just can't get into the movie at all. I'm kind of surprised, like I said, but I think Sean made a very valid point that this era of movies is very strange and it's kind of like every like country's movies. Like there's definitely like a pace that they establish in these things, and if you're kind of not into it, I can get it. It doesn't flow the way you'd expect, and it's kind of weird and wonky and kind of a mashup a lot of different things. So I understand. So hopefully Rumble in the Bronx will be better. Rumble in the Bronx is a lot more straightforward and like...
Yeah, and I believe it's like only available dubbed, if I recall correctly, or it's in English, one or the other.
Well, I know that the one they put in theaters was dubbed, so...
Yeah.
I'll put the dubbed version on the Plex.
Put the dubstep version on.
Hell yeah. Also... Anyway, well, that's the end of the show. We'll keep talking forever. So. All right.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Later, boys.
A lot of bucks.
Stop recording.